not believe in ghosts. Like, there's nothing I could say to convince you. And how many of you are like on the fence? Like maybe, possibly, I don't know, I haven't seen it. If I did, yeah. No offense. Okay, I like convictions. That's cool. My job tonight is not to convince you either way. I just think it's fun to know going in. Tonight we will be doing a downtown spooky historic tour of Lynchburg. We will be walking down Commerce Street and then back up West Walk. It's about a mile of walking. It's about an hour and a half long. So as we are going out throughout the town tonight, I will ask that you please be wary. We've got about 100 years of imperfect history laid down in the streets. Wonky bricks, old cobblestones. Please be careful. And off of Commerce Street, if y'all were not aware, Main Street is under construction. So all those cars have to zoom around those corners pretty fast. Please be careful. If you feel the need to traumatize me with an accident tonight, I will add you into another story. You will let you know, do not do it. I have never once had an issue with my tours. Please do not be my first. Everyone will hear about you for the rest of my life. So we've got a tour this evening. We'll be covering some murder, mayhem, disease, but please do not worry, it is a healthy mix of history and ghost stories. And by that I mean I'm a history major. And leading into that history a little hard. Any questions on what we're going to be doing tonight and how this is going to pan out? Fantastic. Lovely. All right, so this tour is brought to you by GhostStop. We make and sell ghost hunting equipment. This company was founded originally by Sean Porter, who is part of Ghost Hunters. If y'all have seen that TV show, he was the tech guy, go-to tech guy. Other teams reached out to him, started asking for some of the equipment he tinkered with. It kind of branched out to other teams in the network, other teams outside of the network, and then eventually to the public. Founded in Florida, and then moved its way out here about a year and a half ago. We landed in Lynchburg. We've been here. We've been really enjoying it. This is a lovely city. So tonight's tour is brought to you with that in mind. Behind y'all is all of our ghost tech. A lot of the gadgets are made upstairs. Our tech team likes to tinker away. Every so often they come down with something new. They're like, hey guys, look at this. It's pretty cool. With that in mind, we will actually be using some gear tonight. So how many of you guys have heard of the obelisk before? Any friends over here have? Anyone over here? Heard or seen of the obelisk? Alright, so it is a spirit box in a way. So it actually uses changes in the environmental readings, so temperature, EMF fields, things like that, and it kind of goes through a dictionary of words and spits things out. Yeah. Commonly used on like a lot of these TV shows tend to lean more towards some of like the more technical stuff. Yeah, very fun. So we will actually be using this tonight on our tour. Do I have a volunteer? Anybody who wants to be my obelisk holder?
Hip, volunteer.
Well, no, Pip's already got a device.
I got my gas.
She's already got a device in her hands.
See, cherish that.
If it's something that you're like, oh, that's weird or creepy,
She already has.
just speak up.
Yeah, she's using something called.
If anyone else has any ghost gear that they would like to use tonight that you brought with you, I highly encourage it. I'll stop and pause in a few places. You'll have time. If not, we do encourage pictures, film. If you catch anything, please feel free to interrupt me. That's not. I don't mind.
Don't be shy then.
With that little intro done, we're gonna go ahead and get started in our first story. And our first story actually takes here in this building. So y'all been hanging out in a haunted building. A few use the restroom in our haunted building. That is not a place you want to experience your first paranormal encounter.
Bathrooms.
What is it about bathrooms?
You're vulnerable in there.
I guess.
And they're like, oh yeah, now's the time. So this building was actually built in 1908. It was built by Mr. Robert Strother. Robert Strother was a pharmacist in his time. He was actually known to be very kind of like on the pulse of society. He was very much a part of the community. He had friends, family, loved ones. He was a community man. He was also, like I said, the pharmacist operating during a time of tuberculosis, pandemic, epidemic, and you know, it gets a little tough.
I'd say Jack.
Jack?
Lasting.
Lasting. Ooh, lasting maybe. I don't know Jack yet. Mr. Robert, he was doing his best. He absolutely did his best. There was a lot of pressure on him because he had so many loved ones in the community and because so much was going on. This was also during a time of questionable, if any, drug regulations and testing. So a lot of the times when you would come into a pharmacist, like this was back in the day, you would find cyanide, you'd find mercury, you'd find oil of tar like we use today to seal the roads, and that was your like cough syrup. In the back of the throat, we've got some mercury and cyanide. I'm sure that'll sort you out. As you can imagine, it did not. One of the more popular things that you could actually come get
Was it grape
is
flavor?
a shot of turpentine. Again, it was viewed as cold medicine. And if you had anything left over, you could put it in your lamps as multi-purpose, not effective.
Grape flavored?
Probably not.
Okay, just checking.
I
Just
can
checking.
imagine. And as y'all can imagine, we're not necessarily saving so many lives with medicines like cyanide and mercury. So as Mr. Robert Strother is losing his loved ones to these diseases and illnesses, and some of these cures are not doing what they're supposed to do, that creates more strain on a person, more strain on this man who's working so hard. He comes in and he works even harder, he works longer hours, and he still loses his loved ones, he still loses his friends, their children. He ends up losing his own children and his own mother as well.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Robert, he ended up passing away 9 years after he opened up this building, but people say there'll be times where we come in and we come in around 9 o'clock. We know we've shut the place down, we know we've turned off all the lights, but we'll come in and
He won't
everything's
leave.
opened up and set up.
Ooh.
Almost like somebody was here before us.
You're missing that.
And I have to imagine with that 1908 work ethic, he's probably in the building going, where have you guys been? I've been here for 2 hours already.
Interestingly, I just got he won't leave.
He won't leave? I mean, under a lot of stress. There have been times where our team is downstairs and we hear footsteps on the floors above us.
Classic.
Our team is only 10
Classic.
people big, so it's very easy to be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, everyone's here. And we do have 2 empty floors above us as well, so nobody's in those floors, and we'll still hear the footsteps. Doors slamming is a common occurrence as well, and we've had a few team members even see a shadow figure walking up and down the hall. In my experience, Robert has been a kind gentleman, as one is in 1908, a very gentlemanly sir. However, he is not our only spirit in this building. We actually have a friend, I say that very loosely, that's in the basement. So beneath y'all.
Basement dwellers.
Yeah. So he is a full shadow figure. His arms and legs are longer than the average person.
Oh,
And
jeez.
he's been seen crawling up the walls and on the ceiling.
That's a rake.
Get off the walls.
As you can imagine, I do not go downstairs to the basement. I send my male coworker. I deem that a boy job, and that is that's all on him. When we have done our own investigations in this building, what has come about are Robert likes to introduce himself. He'll say his own name. He'll talk about, I'm here. He'll talk about the pharmacy-related things. But our friend in the basement, he calls us out by name. He's learned the name of the team members here, and through our spirit boxes and through the gear that we use, he will call us out as individuals. So that tells us that the spirits are aware, they are paying attention, and they do know who we are. So as we go throughout our tour tonight, I will ask that y'all please be kind, please be respectful. You guys do not have to come back in, but I come back in tomorrow morning. With that note and with that out there, we're gonna go ahead and head on out.
Excuse me, he sounds fine. I don't want anything that's crawling on the ceiling.
No, it would be best if we did nothing involving crawling on the ceiling. So we are on a ghost tour, and we're just
GhostStop.
leaving GhostStop, the happy place of OSI.
Take a picture of the.
And there's my mom. There's my mom
And
right
there's
there.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, we got Ghostbuster stuff behind us. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy this tour. It's going to be fun. It's a beautiful night. Beautiful night.
All my friends are like, just wait, Ash. Just wait till winter really hits. All right, can everyone hear me okay? Okay. So allow me a moment to set the scene for our tour tonight. We will mostly be discussing the 1800s and events that happened in the 1800s. Towards the tail end, we'll kind of bring it back up to the World Wars, but for the time being. So what that means is, instead of cars and roads as we know them today, we would have dirt paths, bricks, cobblestones, horses and buggies. Ladies, we would all be wearing dresses and skirts. Gentlemen, suits, everywhere you go. Suits and hats. Instead of smelling that car exhaust, we'd be smelling horse. Yeah, that's fine. Some people are okay with that. I'm from the city. But also here in Lynchburg, tobacco was a very popular crop. So the process of curing tobacco, that sweet smell of it burning, that would also be kind of filtering throughout the air as well. So my next question for you guys is, how many of you guys have been to Amazement Square? Wow, quite a few. Cool. Yeah, that's the focus of my next story. So Amazement Square is actually right down the corner, and down a little ways it is a museum nowadays. However, it was originally a factory turned Civil War treatment center. It was one of 32 in the area. Lynchburg was known to be kind of a central point during the Civil War. Appomattox is only 20 miles away. That's where the Civil War ended. But Amazement Square, one of our treatment centers, one of our many treatment centers. And of course, they do have their own spirit activities. I have actually had people stop me on my tour and come up to me to talk afterwards. I had a teacher tell me that her students see the soldiers in the museums. They talk about the soldiers that they see wearing both blue and gray, featuring in both sides of the Civil War. As you can imagine, that war brought a lot of intense feelings and emotions out. We believe that intense feelings, that's intense emotional trauma, is kind of what holds spirits here and like holds them to those places. It can be light, you know, a light figure. You see all of their features. They're there. You think they're just another person walking down the street. Maybe a little bit of old-timey clothes, but you know, they're there. On the other side, some of the spirits that we talk about tonight are darker in nature. They're almost shadowy. You can't discern any physical features. It's a darker, angrier feeling that kind of holds them in. So they're more of a individualistic type. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind, that a lot of these stories do carry a heavy emotional weight to them, and they do have that emotional side of it. Keep that in mind. Like I said inside, be kind. Yeah. Any questions so far? With that, we're gonna head this way.
When she was talking about Amazement Square, it said rich.
Rich? So someone's already pointed out, oh no, you got your mom to go on another investigation. This is a ghost tour. It's not an investigation.
Yeah.
This is only an hour and a half as opposed to the
Hours
6
and
hours.
hours.
The 6 hours I think we were at the Bird Theater.
It's bright. Oh, is it?
Well, this is bright.
Pathetic.
This is pretty bright.
Oh,
Oh, it's a hairdresser's. Okay.
That's bright.
That is bright.
Uneven path while you're walking around like that.
Yeah.
You go down.
I'm trying to
Don't want
manage
your
it.
head to impact anything.
Right.
So I'm actually going to turn your direction upwards. Not so much the church right in front of us, but the lofts that are above it. And on this next building, of course. Those are our neighbors. They do have lots of feelings about us being next door to them, as one can imagine. So after GhostStop moved in about a year and a half ago, we did have a visit from our neighbors. They were asking, what the heck are y'all doing over here? Because since we had moved in, they had activity. They had activity prior to us moving in, but when we did move in, it ramped up.
Oh dear.
So much so that they felt the need to come over and talk to us about it. And you have to imagine, we're doing lots of renovations, we're changing things. And I always like to tell people, imagine if it were you, if you were that spirit. This was your home since this building was built. You helped pick out that wallpaper, you helped pick out the flooring, you helped design it, you lived here. Not only did you live here for your entire life, but you also spent your afterlife here as well. And now somebody is coming in, ripping up the flooring, tearing down the wallpaper, putting up millennial gray paint all over everything, and making it modernized and luxury to rent out to some college kids. You'd be a little frustrated if it was you. If that was your home, you would be frustrated. And it's completely understandable. So we do think that those renovations and changes are kind of why spirits come out during renovations. It was their home. It was their home first.
Crystal dome
So,
pumps.
I don't know. I get it. Since we've finished renovations, though, our friendly neighbor has come over and told us that things have died down. But back to the normal amount of paranormal
Just
activity for
a
her.
regular.
And we like
The
to think it's
flowers up
because
there.
we've been so
Yeah.
respectful. We tell everyone who comes in, respect is key, especially when you're doing paranormal investigations, or if you have a spirit in your home, respect is key. Cohabitation is a possibility. And we also like to think that they just kind of like the vibe that we bring and the vibe of our new place. It's 1920s Curtis, so it's kind of from their era.
Yeah, you're in the 1920s. We're in the 2020s. It's exactly
Yeah,
the same
exactly.
thing.
It's
we
just-
just had a pandemic.
It's 100 years difference. We just had a pandemic, though.
People were wearing masks.
We're having a very contentious, election period. So it's just like the 1920s, give or take 100 years.
All right, I'm gonna turn your direction up to this parking garage that was not always a parking garage. Used to be people's place. Now, when I ask you about mad scientists, who do you think of?
Jekyll.
Oh yeah,
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein?
Well, Lynchburg had its own mad scientist type here in the city. He used to live up this way. He was also a pharmacist. His name was Charles Brown Fleet. He was a pharmacist just like Mr. Robert was. However, instead of doing some of his experiments in a factory or in a lab, he liked to do them in his backyard. Over an open flame. His neighbors complained about the bonfire mixed with chemicals. So, yeah,
Neighbours, right?
we love a mad scientist. His company produced chapstick and laxatives.
Interesting combination.
Yeah, a wonderful combination. Definitely don't have any concerns there.
It just said leave it.
And it's the same
Leave it.
chapstick formula that we use today. It has not changed.
Greetings.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, mad
However,
scientist.
Mr. Charles Brumley
Greetings.
did not make much off of his chapstick formula. He was not so much a salesman as he was an inventor. So he ended up selling the formula to chapstick to somebody else. Any guesses on how much he sold it for?
$1.
I would say $1.50.
$1.50, not quite. What did we say right here? $5. That is absolutely correct.
$5.
He sold the formula that we use today and that is in like every store anywhere. He sold it for
dear.
$5. Yeah.
$5.
No residuals. That wasn't really a thing.
Spirit.
So he sold it to a Mr. Morton. Morton.
Medicine.
his
Oh,
design for
wow.
The invention of the tube material that twist up to.
We just got medicine over here.
Medicine.
Medicine,
I like
yeah.
that. Morton credits his wife with that twist up tube contraption that they put chapstick in today. And Morton and his wife actually found a local Lynchburg artist to design the tube. So the tube, the formula, and the logo are all over 100 years old.
Wow.
And it's still being used today. Just like the iconic.
I would
Charles
totally
Brown's
hunt somebody.
fleet, his company, CB Fleet, is still in operation today.
Oh.
There's actually a factory here still in Lynchburg. They also, from what my understanding is, do enemas and laxatives. No longer chopsticks.
Yeehaw.
All right, guys.
Keeping it clean.
I lived here.
Really? I lived here?
Caution.
Nope. That's why I've got the light on. No, Randy, unfortunately, Phil has not joined us yet, but they do these tours all year round.
Yeah, and this was a gift from our realtor.
Yeah, this was a gift from our realtor. So we're following Mom to the next spot. Mom, of course, is following the group. Just Twitch Grandma. Just Twitch Grandma.
See, and then it stopped talking.
Yeah,
It's like on that corner.
waiting on to the next stop. So yeah, this is fun. This is I think the third ghost thing
Yes.
we've done in Lynchburg
In less than 2 weeks.
in less than 2 weeks. We did the graveyard tour, which some of you may have joined us on, and I did check with GhostStop, and they are 100% on board with us streaming this. In fact, they want to find out more about what we're doing this coming week at Linville Manor. Oh, I will, Randy. I will. When we reach the next stop, I'll let Twitch Grandma know. We had a nice day.
We had a very nice
A
day.
very nice day.
A lot of antique hunting.
Yep. Found some crystal doorknobs. You know you're old when crystal doorknobs excite you.
But they do.
Oh, someone wants Twitch Grandma to scare me like they did at Bird Theater. Chat says hello, Mom.
Okay. Hello.
I have brought us to the beautiful art alley. More so to get us away from But this story actually takes place up on Main and 9th. And we're going back to 1850. So, May 30th, 1850 here in Lynchburg. Beautiful day, just like any other, until about noon. Noon, the fire alarm goes off. A careless clerk had thrown the remnants of his lit cigarette down on the basement floor.
Uh-oh.
That floor slicked in oil.
Oh.
It took seconds for the entire building to be erupted into flames. This is 1850. The fire department we have just turned the corner on firefighting technology, and we have a volunteer fire department. These are not men who, are trained the same way that they are today, and they definitely do not have the same technology that we have today. So by the time they get out to this building, the
Just said run.
run,
Oh, wow.
the hardware store has already been burnt down by the time the firefighters are able to respond. The fire has spread to the tailors, to the general stores, to other frame houses that are in the vicinity or on that block, as well as the Virginian Hotel, the original one. And try as they might, like I said, they're a volunteer fire department. We have just turned the corner from buckets of water being thrown up onto the flames to hand pump streams. And we had 2 of them for about 7 or 8 houses, buildings actively on fire. As you can imagine, the gentleman had to fight long and hard to get that flame under control. 5 firefighters went into the Virginian building, 2 hand pump streams between the 5 of them. The partition wall collapsed and the building fell on top of them. They did not make it out.
So this is not the original Virginian. They rebuilt it?
They
Oh,
did.
On the
okay.
same side.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure if it's on the same side. I can double check that for you. But I do know that it's not the original.
Wow.
as gorgeous as it is. But yes. And that was not the only set of fires that happened that year in 1850. And the beginning of August, some houses, some private homes were also set on fire. Now this was not the accidental, carelessness of someone, but this was more intentional and more targeted. For all of August, September, October, various homes and businesses were targeted by an arsonist.
Oh, wow.
They never caught him. They do not know who he was. They do not know if he had any partners in crime or any associates with him. They just know that for 3 months, homes and businesses were being set on fire in the middle of the night. As you can imagine, like we had just discussed with the fire department, valiant as they were, two-hand pump strings. And we had no idea who was going to be targeted next, or whose house was going to be up in flames next. The city was wrapped in fear.
Oh, wow.
Everyone was afraid to sleep at night because they didn't know if they were going to be the ones woken by fire and smoke.
There was no pattern. There was no. It was all random.
That's what the stories tell us. That it was random.
Okay.
I have to imagine that maybe there was some intention behind it, but all of that would just be guesswork on my end. I can't tell you for sure.
Wow.
You do know that 3 months in, the arsonist stopped. He was not caught, but he just stopped. They don't know why, because they don't know who it was. They don't know if he moved. They don't know if he passed. They don't know if he just simply got bored. Or if he had fulfilled his goal and targeted the people he wanted to target. However, it mattered, but at the same time, it didn't really matter because it's not like that fear just goes away overnight. It was months after the fires had stopped that people were still terrified of going to sleep. The city was exhausted, as one can imagine. The fear was still palpable. There was still a lot of fear between neighbors and a lot of accusations flying as well. The firefighters did the best they could, but there was obviously homes and lives that were lost in those flames, as well as businesses and livelihoods. And it is rather unfortunate. When people walk by Main and 9th, the original hardware store that kind of was the catalyst to all of this, they can still talk about smelling the smoke. They still talk about hearing some of the voices and, hurried whispers talking off of Main and 9th, that intersection, some of the buildings. People talk about seeing shadow figures going from the top of the building or from the windows, kind of like jumping out and then disappearing before they hit the ground, which is very disconcerting if you see that in person. Again, it's normally accompanied by that kind of like smokier smell. So if you're ever up in that area, you keep an eye out.
What's that?
If you're in Lynchburg,
Oh, that's
local,
right.
you know that on Monument Plaza there was actually a monument to the firefighters, to those that had lost their lives in the fire. However, the city moved that monument away from Monument Plaza into somewhere else, or replaced it with something else. And there's been talks and rumors that since they moved that monument out, some of these fire-related hauntings happen a little bit more frequently. It's rather unfortunate. On that note, we are in this lovely area. I would like to give you guys just a few minutes. My friends from the Obelisk, if you like to ask questions out here, this is a great place to do so. If anyone wants pictures, we do have all this lovely art and the lights about. I'll give you guys about 5-ish minutes, probably a little less to kind of explore if you would like.
That's a neat idea.
Ask a few questions if you
That's
have
just
the
a
gear.
neat idea.
And if you have questions
They're
for
mixing,
me, I'll
they're
be
mixing,
up here.
they're mixing the ghost tour with a little bit of casual investigation. I kind of dig that.
And if you want me to take pictures of anyone.
You feeling a pull anywhere, baby?
I was standing here. I was getting lots of run, aggressive.
So come down here with me. Come down here with me.
All right.
Okay, this is unexpected. I didn't expect for us to do a little bit of paranormal investigation here. So this ought to be fun. How about right here, hon?
I also got a leaf.
Okay, let's just try this out.
Okay.
Is there anybody here that wants to make their presence known? Yeah, this is in Lynchburg, Virginia.
In the art walk.
We're in the Art Walk of Lynchburg, Virginia.
The bluff is just down there.
Are any of the firefighters here? Brave folks that tried to save the city of Lynchburg?
2 pumps, isn't
My wife is holding a device in her hand that will help you communicate if you want to say anything.
You said run before.
Yeah, you said run before.
Do you smell smoke?
I swear to God, I just smelled smoke.
Where is there an actual smoke?
Is there a smokehouse anywhere around here? No, I'm smelling smoke. I'm not trying to make bring attention to myself, but I smell smoke.
Undecided. It was right here.
No, it's right here. I smell it right here.
It's a smokehouse. Is there a barbecue joint or something? It doesn't smell like barbecue.
It's going away. It's not down here. Yeah, so you smell it too, hon, right? Right there. Okay. Waitress?
There's a ghost waitress here who burned something.
Who ordered the burnt ends, brisket, and an extra mac and cheese?
And I love the murals are really beautiful
Oh, yeah.
down here.
But you smelled that,
I did,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
So when you get your hair cut, keep an eye out for
Keep an eye out for any
Ghostly-
shadow figures or
ghostly
anything
figures.
like that. Who knew we were going to be, moving to such a haunted
Can you
town?
repeat?
Can we repeat? Okay, yeah, we can repeat. So I just smelled that smoke. Are you trying to put out the fire right now? Is there anybody here that wants to make their presence known?
Yes. So businesses in the bottom floor, lofts at the top.
Would you like to tell us your name?
I'm sure people who are living in the lofts are like, great, the ghost tour is back. That was wild.
It was just sort of
It was just right there.
yeah.
It was right there.
Well, and I looked at you and I said,
Did you smell it, Mom, or no? All right, worth a
I
shot.
don't have a very good sense of smell.
Okay.
I want to see your face. I want to see your face at the window. Come on, show me your face.
Do you want me to take a picture of all y'all? Yes, please.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Phil would be so proud of me.
Ghost smell.
Ghost smells. I'm right here and I'm not smelling
You're
it.
not usually the ghost smells person.
No, I am not the phantom.
He's
I am
not
not
one
the
that smells
I'm not the no, it's Phil. Phil usually smells the tobacco and all that stuff.
Well, this was a big tobacco town, so.
All right,
That's
guys,
true.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yep.
I can have a look on Google Maps. Is there a barbecue?
The only place close to a barbecue joint is Bootleggers. But Bootleggers is down that direction.
It's a
You say can we move after you've already moved.
Rebecca? It said Spirit, Rebecca.
Spirit and then Rebecca.
She said something about Rebecca.
Okay, so we got Rebecca.
That's great.
Well, oh yeah. I am. I swear, I was not trying to bring attention to myself or anything. But I smelled smoke. I smelled smoke. Pretty freaking strong, too. And then I just smelled their perfume, so, which is why we tell people, don't wear perfume
I'm behind you.
on paranormal investigations. Ooh. Yeah, come on in.
Don't lag back there.
I don't know what that is up there, but that looks like a nice place up there.
Oh no, that's the new. Do you need it? Do you want to live up there too?
Oh, is that's the new like rooftop? Yeah. Lynchburg is not only a happening place, it's a very haunted place.
You didn't put up your hand. What about the time we were walking and you suddenly said, someone's walking behind me?
And there's my mom. And there's Pip. There's Pip calling out my mom. Pip's calling out my mom, everybody. By the way, for everybody that's joining here on YouTube and on Twitch, hi, how you doing? We are on a ghost tour, live from Lynchburg, Virginia in the United States. You'll notice that I'm not going to be as interactive as a normal stream, and that is mainly because I don't want to step on top of what our tour guide is saying. But if you have any questions, go ahead and do what Shell did over on YouTube. Drop it in chat, and either my mod will remind me of it, or I will get it as soon as I get a chance. Does the name Rebecca mean anything on this tour?
Not on this tour.
Okay.
Do we get a Rebecca?
Yeah, got a Rebecca, and I'm behind you.
Okay.
So come on, Rebecca. Come and join the tour.
Come on and hang out. Alright, so this is the part of the tour where the roads get a little bit rougher, and I get to really drill home that please be careful where we walk. Because, yeah, the streets get a little bit older throughout the rest of the store. This is one of my favorite spots because it's not only just cars, buses, and speeding vehicles we have to worry about, but it's also horses. And if you're from here, you're like, no, Ashley, you're wrong. There are no horses in downtown Lynchburg. Okay, well, not living ones. So we actually have heard the story quite a few times, but this one in particular, we had a gentleman as he was trying to cross this crosswalk here. He comes face to face with a horse, a nice old gray one. As he jumps back to get out of the way, he notices it's not just the horse, but the reins, the carriage, a driver, and even one of those old-timey lanterns lighting the way for himself. And as quickly as he jumps back, gets out of the way, as quickly as that horse and carriage appear, it also disappears. Kind of like a whisper spoke. And I know you're probably thinking, like, Ashley, you just had this whole speech at the beginning of the tour about how it's emotions that tie the spirits here. What strong emotions does this horse have that it's still here? Well, probably not necessarily anything super strong, but in the paranormal research, this is what we would call a residual haunt. It is something that happens so frequently in its time that it's kind of imprinted on the land. A residual haunt doesn't necessarily have any awareness of time passing. It doesn't have any awareness of us around it or any changes in its environment. It is simply something that happens so often, with such frequency, that it is just continuing to happen even after the creature or the spirit is passed. And we know that down here, in one of these corner buildings, was the old carriage house, carriage manufacturing. Lynchburg, back in its day, back in the 1800s, was a very, very wealthy city for a number of reasons. And one of the things that we did really, really well was carriages and wagons. Thornhill Wagon Company shipped out work wagons all across the states. And by all across the states, I mean the East Coast, because that's where we were at the time. And the wagon manufacturing was down here in Lynchburg. It was known to be some of the nicest carriages that you could buy in the States. I'm talking about your like Mercedes or Lexus of horse-drawn carriages.
Ooh.
That is what we had going on here. As well as your John Deere of work wagons. They were known to be in all the farms and all the plantations. We shipped out all across the continental U.S. So keep that in mind, and if any of you guys see a ghost horse, please let me know. Ghost animals are my favorite stories. Absolutely. All right, like that.
Did you get anything interesting, baby?
Give it back.
Give it back. Give what back? Give what back?
The coach? Did they think we
Yeah, I know.
coach jacked?
What do you think?
Has the ovulus been quiet? Has it made any noises? Has it been quiet for you?
Oh no, it keeps saying lots of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Usually not.
always talk,
It
but
always isn't exactly what she's talking about necessarily.
Oh, blog. Very, very, very hip for Ghost of the 19th century.
This podcast, we know that the
Yeah.
When we went by that church, it did say
Pray
pray
often.
Oh, see, the thing about the ovulus is that it is like Ashley said, it's randomly generating words. The theory is that if it keeps randomly generating words, eventually it starts to fall into place. It starts to click in. Okay. But then there are some places you go that are so active, right off the bat. It's like we had a word, the word generator that my wife is using. We were at a place called Linville Manor, and out of the blue, this thing says, "Are you okay?" Because my wife had lost her mom that week.
Oh my God.
And it just, and we all just shut up, and we were staring at Pip, and Pip was like, "What?" And she looks down, she goes, "Oh, I'm fine." And then she continued on her story, you know.
Wow.
Sometimes these gadgets do really wild things, and you just have to sort of try to figure it out as you go.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're doing great. Oh, this is the tobacco lofts.
I would like to welcome you all to the heart of Lynchburg's economy, the tobacco houses. Tobacco was Lynchburg's number one export back in the day. It made Lynchburg the second wealthiest city in the United States after and it is because of our loose leaf tobacco. Are any of y'all familiar with Pirates of the Caribbean? I promise it ties in.
Johnny Depp was here.
I wish that would be a lot happier of a story. Are we familiar with the East India Trading Company?
Yes.
So they had a network across the world, right? And on their tins of tobacco, if we were being truthful and historically accurate, a lot of that loose leaf tobacco would have the Lynchburg, Virginia stamp on it. We shipped everywhere. We shipped worldwide. We were the number one export. Most loose leaf tobacco came from here. It wasn't just loose leaf, but also rolled cigars, chewed tobacco, untreated tobacco was all sent out.
It's Virginia's
The
cash
process of
crop.
cultivating and curing tobacco is super labor intensive. It is a tireless work. There's always something to do. The work does not stop. The gentleman who worked in buildings like this was one of 46, I believe, 47 tobacco factory houses. It does not stop. The gentleman who worked here, we are talking 12 to 16-hour days, 6 days a week. It does not matter how hot it is. It does not matter how cold it is. These gentlemen are here working. We are also talking about a time period where the men who work here were not paid in the beginning. The South had cotton, we had tobacco.
That's a merchant talking right there. That's a merchant talking.
So a lot of that economy that made Lynchburg the wealthiest city was built on the back of free labor. And more accurately, slave labor. So the gentlemen who worked here, they worked tirelessly, and it is unfortunate they worked under extremely harsh conditions. So is that-
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely harsh. It is.
This whole building has not been converted entirely to lofts. There are parts of this building that stand empty and no longer in use. The residents here talk about when they go home at night and things are starting to get quiet out here on the streets, they can hear murmurs and they can hear the sounds of shuffling in those empty parts of the building. Tobacco permeates this building. The smell, that sweet smell of tobacco all throughout, especially in those empty parts of the building. They will talk about walking through the building at night and having their hair tugged on, having their shirts tugged on. Somebody even said that they had their wrist grabbed and yanked back. It's almost as if they're being told to get back to work. You have to imagine the spirits that are still here are here because they used to work here. They probably spent more time here working than at home, if we're being completely real. And the people who live here now, they come home to relax. So you can see that weird, like, change in what this building is used for. And you can kind of understand where the spirits are coming from when they're tugging at people, when they're like pulling them towards the workroom. It's like, hey, you're here in this building, you're supposed to be working right
Stop
now.
watching Netflix.
Yeah. Not watching Pirates of the Caribbean. We do know one specific story of a gentleman who did pass away here. His name was Samuel, and he was known to roll the best cigar out of everyone in his town. People say that there are times where they can hear his name being called. You can hear murmurs. They do believe they like dubbed him Samuel. And there are those who have broken in to those empty parts of this building that are not supposed to be open to the public to find cigars still being rolled, as if people are still working. This is absolutely not my recommendation to break into an abandoned building to get a freshly rolled cigar. We have plenty of tobacco stores. Do not do that. But it is something that they talk about. They talk about quite frequently. So,
Undoubtedly.
with that in mind,
What'd you say?
we're going to continue
Undoubtedly.
on.
It's like the spirits are like, hey, you're doing a great job on this tour. You know, give some facts.
I think Ashley's great. Yeah. You know,
Wouldn't it be great to get like invited
I might
to
as
go
well.
into the tobacco?
Oh,
Yeah.
I might as well throw my hat.
Absolutely not.
I could throw my hat in the ring and apply for a job. You know, why not?
Even just to get access.
Yeah.
It'd be worth it, just access.
Don't think doing a ghost tour would give me access to these lofts.
I'm sure he knows people.
They look like nice apartments though. Wow, those are nice apartments. Woo. Woo. Man, if my bachelor pad back in the day looked like that. Woo.
This is a nice apartment. You don't know bachelor days. I would have loved it.
I see bootleggers is down that way. We were all the way over there, so I don't think I was smelling bootleggers. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then it's interesting.
Nice city, Lynchburg. Nice city. I think we've chosen well. I think we've chosen well for a place. Did we know it was this haunted when we moved here? No. We did not. We did not know that this place was this haunted when we first
Smell.
started. What are you smelling?
Just it smells.
Oh, smell?
We're looking for a smell.
But it's a real bonus though. It's a real bonus. And also they don't seem to be leaning away from it. They seem to be leaning towards it. Granted, this is presented by GhostStop, but I mean, Ashley's doing great. She's a wicked good yarn spinner. But it's also just there's a lot of amazing history here, and I think we're about to get a big dose of history hit here. Look at this place, everybody.
But that does happen normally on this part. They're like, all right. And a few times, yeah, they've been like, here, take this back. I don't want it anymore. No worries. No worries, I promise. All right.
Where?
I would like to welcome you all to the world famous Craddock Terry Shoe Company. Today, the Craddock Terry Hotel, originally built, it was a shoe company. Paints the shoes everywhere. This was a factory warehouse when it was originally built in 1898. It was built by Mr. William Craddock. He does have family members still here in town. They oversaw the transformation from factory into hotel. So the family is still here in town. However, when Mr. William Craddock was originally building this and employing people here, he ran into an issue. Like many other wealthy businessmen of the time, he can no longer force his laborers to work for free.
Aww.
I know, what a bummer. However, he found a way to cut corners.
That's my mom, right over
Now you
there
are
in
a
the
wealthy
white.
businessman, and this is the turn of the century. You can't force your laborers to work for free. What do?
Get children to do it.
Yes, child labor for the cheap. So at its height, 10 years after this building was built, at its height, it made and manufactured 100,000 shoes per day.
Wow, that's right. That's right.
Using his child labor. happen to look at any of the photos from back in the day, they do have them in the lobby. You will see 11, 12, 13, 14, all the way up to young adults. You will see them outside enjoying their smoke breaks.
Why did you come?
Yeah.
Why did you come?
Now imagine if you were working in the factory and you have worked about 9 to 10 hours. You've still got 1 or 2 more hours to go. You go up to your boss and you're like, hey man, I'm gonna step outside. I just need to smoke real quick. And he tells you, no, Timmy just left. You're gonna have to wait till he comes back.
God damn Timmy. 7-year-olds don't
Feel some
have.
sort of way about it. But back then it was normalized. It was normal for children to smoke. They had no like overall health organization to be like, yeah, no, this is a bad idea. Also, remember, tobacco is the main staple crop here. Everyone either smoked or chewed tobacco back in the day. What I find most upsetting about those pictures that they have in the lobby is that these 11, 12-year-olds, a lot of them don't have shoes. So despite the fact that they worked in the shoe factory, they were not paid enough to afford the thing that they manufactured. I find that a little upsetting. Yeah. I can forgive the smoking. It's the lack of shoes.
In a shoe factory.
It was just the way they took care of their workers in a way. It's a little frustrating. We have both staff and guests alike email us and talk to us all the time. They hear children in this building running up and down the halls, playing a little ding dong ditch on the hotel rooms.
Misery. It's a good one.
Well, I was gonna say, I have to imagine that the reason these children are still hanging out is because they did lose their childhood to working in a factory. And now that they have passed on, they're allowed to relive that childhood with all their friends in the same place. You have to imagine you're working 10 plus hours a shift. Your friends are going to be the people you work with, especially at that young age. Remember how when y'all were in school, your friends were the people in your class? Okay, their friends were the people on their factory floor with them.
Do you know if the hotel is open to paranormal investigators coming in and checking things out?
They have emailed us quite a few times. They want us to go and investigate. I'm pretty sure it's a lot of just, I want y'all to confirm what we're seeing. Anyway. You have to imagine from the viewpoint of a child, especially in that 1800s, turn of the century, 1900s, the children are going to be more comfortable with the adults they're most familiar with, which would be the workers and the staff. Have y'all ever heard the phrase, children are to be seen and not heard? Yeah, and we've heard that today in our age. That was especially doubled down on back then. Those children are not going to talk to any random adults. They're going to talk to the ones that they know and to the other children in the area. But, so, if you're ever feeling the need to take a little staycation here at the Craddock Terry, first and foremost, remember that it is a historic hotel. Please be kind to the staff members. Also, it is right next to the train station. Please be kind to the staff. Also, my third point is that the children ghosts, they are not scary. They are just children trying to play and have a good time out. So, kind to them.
Yeah, it brings stuff with flashing lights, makes noises. Boo Bear.
See, there's this big shoe that people sit in over there. See the red and black?
So hey everybody, remember, if you have any questions for me, if you have any questions for the tour, I'll ask it on your behalf, absolutely. But welcome to Lynchburg, haunted, and this has been a lot of fun. I think my mom is enjoying herself. I hope my mom's enjoying herself. There's my mom, and there's Pip. So Twitch Grandma and Twitch Mom, right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Grandma is strong.
Yeah.
Twitch Grandma is strong like bull. She is amazing. Like haunted hotel.
Slang, that is one we hear here a lot. I'm not 100% sure why. But it's possible it relates to the next one. This road here is actually one of the oldest roads here in Lynchburg. It is the focus of our story in this location. It predates the colonial settlers that were here. y'all have a look here.
This is the oldest street.
It is the oldest road. It was carved out of this hill by the original keepers of this land, the Monacan Nation.
Oh.
They were here thousands of years before John Lynch and his family settled this area. And this is where they used to take their livestock, take their animals, and their loved ones and family members. They would cross the James onto the other side. For various reasons. They had to, they needed to, the seasonal changes. Don't matter. When John Lynch and his family did come in 1750, they settled this area. The Monacan Nation had already faced quite a bit of hardship. The colonial settlers had already made it out this far by that time, and their population was already hit with a number of diseases, settler conflict, as well as there was conflicting native peoples in the area that also, when times got hard with the European encroachment, tensions rose between the native populations that were already here. So by the time John Lynch and his family did settle, the Monacan Nation was already facing those hardships. They were already starting to disperse. Some of the community ended up staying. They stayed along the James, and they tried to make it work with the settlers. However, John Lynch was a Quaker, and he was known to be extremely strict in his beliefs, to the point of controversy, even by today's standards. So as you can imagine, that did not necessarily pan out as well for those who stayed behind. And then part of the nation moved up north to where the Iroquois nation was. The Iroquois and the Monacan had tense relationships. When I did my own independent research on it, that I've heard that they traded sometimes, and sometimes they fought. But we are also talking about thousands of years of history, so both are probably accurate. When the paranormal team that was here before GhostStop moved in talked to us about this area, they did talk about doing investigations down along the road and along the James where it meets the road. A lot of what they get is more animalistic and cryptid in nature, not necessarily human. And I think that draws back to our horse and carriage story, where when something's been happening for thousands of years repetitively, like the movement of animals across the body of river, they probably lost quite a few animals to the river as well. That kind of leaves its own imprint on the land. It kind of leaves its own mark. So I would have to argue it's probably probably would have to argue it's probably more of a residual haunt that sticks around, not necessarily something you're going to be able to interact with. But we do like to point out the story because we do like to pay an honor and pay special attention to those that did come before us and those who practically have before us. So just going to keep that in mind as we move on.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
The cobblestones,
Yes.
are these original cobblestones, or have these been set later, like in, to preserve the history of the area, et cetera, et cetera?
My understanding is that they have been set later to preserve the history.
Okay.
That's what I've been told. I've also been told that they're French in origin. I do not know how accurate that is. Though.
Okay. And it's going to sound a weird question, but hear me out.
Yeah.
Do you know if any of the cobblestones used in Lynchburg, did they come from the surrounding mountains? Like, were they using the bluestone and the quartz and things like that?
I do believe so.
Okay.
I do believe that a lot of them were. So, historically speaking, those that would have used the natural resources of the land
Right.
were settlers that were here. Those who would have imported their materials, like French cobblestones, are going to be your wealthy businessmen.
Got it.
Or your wealthy proprietors. that
Okay.
Had the ability to import stuff overseas.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Randy. Hey, Pip. Randy says that your jacket totes adorbs.
I am.
You are totes adorbs.
I got some interesting things there. It said, she's touching you. Okay.
Ooh, she's touching you.
And I have to go back and look.
Okay.
But it was definitely like 4 different things, like bang, 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 bang.
Ooh, okay.
And that's always interesting when they get that.
It's always interesting.
I would love to investigate here.
Oh, are you kidding?
I mean, I think it's for the...
So we'll drop off something at...
Above.
Okay, so we'll drop off something at GhostStop, and then we're gonna come here and yeah.
You are funny.
We got to come back here.
When somebody got married.
We got to come back here and we got to do some investigating. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Alright, I'm gonna ask that y'all wait down here in this area. I'm gonna go with our guests down the stairs.
Yeah, the scraping that you heard. Yeah, a just married mobile came pulling up. So yeah, you gonna be good, Mom? You need help?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You can congratulate them. She
Apparently.
walk down an elevator.
Huh? Yeah.
There's no children running through your room. And that'd be the last thing you'd want.
You're like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Mom never told me about this.
I'm sure if you walk
you-
a hotel, you see some things.
I was gonna say, if you really want to be rude, you know, they're consummating the marriage and they happen to look up and they're all surrounded by the kids going,
It's like with no shoes on.
"Don't mind us. We're just watching. You good?" This haunting brought to you by Mel Brooks.
There's like a whole bunch of stuff. Peaceful.
Yeah, we got to make some cards, baby, and we gotta come back
I
here.
got aggressive, she's touching you, visit, real. All in one team.
Ooh, what was that?
Find room. The honeymoon.
Oh wow, find room.
Okay.
That's what it said. Find room. Okay, well I'll be sitting. How you guys doing? You guys doing all right? Hey,
Don't mind us.
don't mind us. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you.
There is actually a picture of them all lined up against the
Hey,
wall outside.
I think we got separated.
No, they're coming.
Oh no, they're coming. Yeah,
The elevator.
Yeah.
they're taking the elevator.
I know, but we're down.
Yeah, well they sent us as like the 10 forward
Is
team.
this the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the bluff, I think. Bluff.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we've got several staycation places now.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's touching you. Aggressive. Real. In like 1 minute.
Aggressive?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, I'm not.
Was that? And that was when she was talking.
Is that another thing where I shouldn't tell them I'm not British?
Well, is that? But was that when they were talking about
When we were
the?
standing by the
yeah.
first road. And then she goes silent.
And then she goes silent. And she takes a breath.
Guys, for your patience.
You are funny.
Thank you. It's always a little hard to talk about like such intense history and then be like still entertaining and be like, yes, child labor.
Well, we were kind of cracking jokes not at their expense, but we were saying that with the married couple here, they're, consummating the marriage, and then they happen to look up, and they're all surrounded by kids, and the kids are doing this. They're just like,
Don't mind us.
"We're good, right? You're doing great, bro. You're doing great."
It just literally said, I'm confused. That's probably what they're saying.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Jack, what's he doing? Okay, look. Have a smoke, and I'll explain it.
Like in school, you always have that one friend who like thinks he knows more than he actually does.
Yeah, Bobby, you said they did it differently. Shut up, kid. Shut up.
I heard it came from a store.
Oh, and they got find room on the Ovilus.
So we're going to find a room.
Alright, well, we're gonna head up this way.
She did look lovely. She did look
She
absolutely
does.
lovely. You coming, Mom? Okay.
You can go up the ramp.
Ooh.
Mama.
Oh, ramp's over here.
Yeah, so
They have made
nice and
Lynchburg
accessible.
pretty accessible. That's nice. Mom takes them. I know.
That's all right. It's lovely out here.
Ooh, are these supposed to be? Oh, these are supposed to be lights.
Yeah, at Christmas they put up this lights on this whole thing.
Oh,
So cool.
oh
Have to
wow.
come back for Christmas
Yeah,
now.
Christmas.
Oh, I didn't get one.
Sorry, we're still waiting on one. She thought it was
Oh.
gonna be right there.
Stalker. Okay, I'm not stalking you.
Oh, here they come.
We're over here.
Big groups are always hard to manage. Okay.
We're all accounted for.
All right. I just did a group tour in Manassas, so I'm still in that sort of group that group mentality. Like everybody stick together. Everybody stick together.
But they were adults by then.
I can't imagine having my coworker as a child.
Can you imagine?
Like I already sometimes, especially with this job, I'll like look at my coworker and I'll be like, dude, the history of this place is dark. I'll be like, please actually stop. I'm just trying to write emails. Respond. Did we find everyone's okay? We're all good? All right, I appreciate everyone's patience while we navigated that. So we were talking, this part of the building is part of the factory. The top floor of lights, that's where the attic is. And that is where the staff members here at the cafeteria, they hear the children most often. They're trying to get work done. Children are running up and down between desks. Great. They just want to play.
I'm coming. No, don't. It's okay.
But this next over the river, across the bridge, and up the mountain. Yeah, some of y'all thought I was going to say something else. I can see it. And this one is a little bit more of a darker story, so please bear with me. We'll be talking about the training facility. Have any of y'all heard of it before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So originally known as, or monikered as the Virginia Colony of Epileptic and Feeble-Minded, it was what today we would call an asylum or a mental health facility. Unlike today, it was a lot darker in nature. So if y'all remember when I originally talked about in our very, very first story about how they did not have a lot of testing for medical, well, when they did start testing medical cures and things, these were the folks that they would have tested them on. You could honestly have done anything to warrant getting placed in there, and it was a lifelong, it was not necessarily a sentence like a jail sentence, but it was a lifelong hold. And it ranged from epilepsy and more serious mental illness to anything like depression, alcoholism. If you were a woman and you gave birth to a child out of wedlock, that warranted getting placed in this home. It was society's way of taking down anyone they saw as undesirable or unsightly, not able to fit into society's model, and just placing them away so they did not have to see them. When it really came down to it, it was mostly the poor and the uneducated that were placed in this home, and this was not a great home to be in. A lot of them suffered the indignity of being like shunned by society, the like hardships and confusions of being taken away from your home just based off of somebody else's word. Like, how awful is that? And it was just kind of a horrible place to live. Those who did live there they were experimented on and one of the big things to come out of this building was actually sterilization. Virginia was one of the first states to enforce a sterilization act. Not only was it the first, but it set the precedent for other states as well. By 1924, 14 other states had followed Virginia's sterilization model, and at that time, the United States legally sterilized over 7,000 people. Out of this building came a Supreme Court case. Their grandmother had a child out of wedlock, her child had a child out of wedlock, and the doctor said that this is the perfect reason to sterilize this group of young women because they could not get married before having babies. The winning argument was 3 generations of imbeciles is enough. And the Supreme Court sided with him. It was a doctor.
Was that Dr. Desjardins?
No, I don't actually have it written down.
Oh, I didn't mean to stump you. I'm sorry.
No,
but
I can look it up.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Bad man.
Not great. Many of the doctors of the day are nowadays we would look back and we'd be questionable.
Yeah.
In the 1930s, during the Nuremberg trials, the Nazis actually pointed to Virginia State until our facility
Jeez.
here.
That I did not
and
know.
when we brought them up on trial for their human experimentation and for their race purification practices, they pointed the finger right back at us and said, "You did it first. We are just copying what you did."
Wow.
And it kind of really held a mirror up to the United States and to what we allowed to go on for so long. I did have the privilege to talk to a few gentlemen who used to work in the building as security. They sent me videos of their security walkthrough, and you can hear the sounds of people upstairs, even though they had just cleared that floor. You can hear the footsteps behind them, even though they turn around, and in their film you can see that nobody is there. And they had told me countless stories of just hearing voices that they know are not there. They even tell me that if you were to go into that building today, which I do not recommend, you could still see the names of the children on their little cubbies. It is like truly just kind of locked in time. Today it is used as like I said, it's a training facility. First responders go in and they practice search and rescue, where they do like breaking in and trying to find that sort of thing. They also talk about not really wanting to be into that building at all. I actually do have a poem for you guys from Miss Molly Brown. She wrote a series of poems based off of her interviews and her experiences inside this building. And we actually have one that comes from the accounts of a priest who used to work in the building. It is titled A Prayer for the Wretched Among Us. Always they tell you to go where God calls. What they don't say is that sometimes God will call you to the wilderness, gesture towards the trees, and then hang back and wave you on alone. This is how I wound up granting absolution to low-grade idiots and the worn-out women who turn them over in bed at night. At dawn, they go home to their families and they try not to think about ghosts. So, the reason we talk about this on tour is because while it is not fun and nobody feels good about making jokes in light of this, it is a rather serious topic and it is worth talking about. It is worth facing the past. It is worth facing what we did here in Lynchburg and how that had a ripple effect out into the rest of the world. Because if you cannot face your past, how can you possibly prevent it from happening again? So that is why we talk about it. That is why I'm allowed to take a moment and be a little more serious and somber with y'all. So I'm gonna let that sit while we walk to our next spot.
How active was that?
It said he will touch you.
Oof.
No.
It does sound like Desjardins.
Yeah, he was a mess.
He was a piece of work. So
Yeah, it is a little awkward when the Nazis go, oh yeah, what about
yeah.
you?
Well, and remember, Desjardins was the one who said we need to step it up because the Nazis are going to surpass us in this. But secondhand says there are these new World War II documentaries that are coming out where they're talking about where apparently American scientists, American doctors were giving Germany all these great ideas on how to handle this.
I think maybe that's something you don't want to export.
Maybe not. Yeah. But
Bootleggers, which is
here's
nice.
Bootleggers. Mom, this is a place we're going to have to take it to you sometime.
Bootleggers.
This is a good place. No, you don't have to have the bourbon or the beer, but their burgers are quite good. That's Bootleggers, everybody. And here's a view of Lynchburg, everybody.
Yeah. It must be pretty when they light it up for Christmas.
Oh, I bet it's beautiful when they light
bet
it up
it
for
is,
Christmas.
too.
But yeah, Desjardins was all about sterilization and things like that. But I didn't know that
There was one close to Lynchburg.
there was one this close to Lynchburg, and that Germany cited Lynchburg and Virginia on a whole.
That's when you go, awkward.
That's when you go. Yeah. My bad doesn't quite cover it.
But it was like a good ghost story from there wasn't
So, how are we feeling?
This has been great, and you're doing a great job, Ashley. You're doing a great
Thank
job.
you. So kind. How are you feeling about that last story? Yeah.
It lingers.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It's okay. I promise from here on out things get lighter. The stories get a little bit more fun, a little bit easier to digest. So with that, we're back to the Civil War. So actually,
Got to work on that segue there, Ashley.
I've been working on it for a bit. So the time period is 1864. We're at the tail end of the Civil War. Things are rough here in Lynchburg. Like I mentioned previously, we have 32 treatment centers and hospitals that are treating both sides of the Civil War, Union and Confederate. At its height, towards the tail end, we have treated over 4,000 men, which is very, very interesting for the fact that we have less than 7,000 people in our city. So as you are walking down the streets, you are seeing gentlemen, they are missing legs, they are missing arms, they are missing bits and pieces of their face, and they are battle worn. They are tired, they're exhausted. The city is, we're tired, we're exhausted, and we are just waiting for the war to end. And across the ridge, up that mountain, is a Union encampment, and they are also waiting. They are laying in wait. Now we know back at this time period, the Union was known for scorched earth, and they had their eyes set on Lynchburg. Are we all familiar with scorched earth? Yes, no?
Mm-hmm.
No? Oh, okay. So what they would do is they would come into town and they would just burn it all down. They would burn the crops, the buildings. They would lay waste to entire cities. We lost entire cities in the Civil War because the plan was just to burn it. So I imagine in Lynchburg that was a terrifying prospect. You have the Union over the ridge. They're watching, and we're very aware that they're over there. We're also very tired, and we don't have the men to fight them. So we got to get a little creative. Around noon, one afternoon, we have a train pull up to the busiest depot in town. It is right down here where the train tracks lay, and it is in full view of this Union encampment. And we got 30 men getting off that train to a round of applause and cheers. It is only 30 men, but they are fresh-faced. They are ready to go. They are ready to fight. Again, not a lot, but hey, that's better than what we had prior. About an hour or two later, another group of 30 men get off that train to a round of applause and cheers. The sound of the city celebrating, sorry, that was a tongue twister, can be heard everywhere, and it definitely reaches out towards that Union encampment. About an hour or so later, another 30 men, and this goes on for the rest of the day until the next day. Every couple hours, a group of 30 men get off the train, the town cheers, it gets louder, the celebration gets more. They are celebrating a battle that has not even begun, like they have won it. And the Union is getting terrified. They are also tired, they're also exhausted, they're also battle worn. They are not ready to fight a whole backup platoon of these men that are just getting off. However, if you were in town, what you would notice is that these 30 men all looked very familiar. Each and every time they got off the train,
Hey, it's Bob.
they looked surprisingly familiar. What was happening was that these same 30 men that had scrounged up, looked fresh-faced, fresh uniforms, they would get on the train just out of town, ride the mile or so into town, get off to a celebration, and then they would hike another mile or two out to get back on the train and come through, and they looped this tactic over and over again until the Union itself decided, I'm good, I don't need to. It's like I said, they're also tired, they're also exhausted. They don't want to fight this fight. In a month's time, the Civil War is over. They've signed a treaty over in Appomattox, and things have settled down. And this is the almost battle of Hunter's Ridge. So, we're gonna keep this energy up. The reason we talk about it is because ghost stories don't have to be sad and dark. They can also be happy. They can also be full of celebration and joy that kind of ties things together. And like I said, our next stories are going to be those happier, more joyful stories. Head this way.
But still, those 30 guys must have been tired at the end of the day.
But yeah.
Walking a mile every.
In wool outfits,
Yeah, question. Was it in July?
wool uniforms. Yeah, wool in July. Fake it till you make it and rage mental warfare. Exactly, secondhand. It's a good story. I've heard it. I've heard it told 2 different times, and it's a good.
I've heard that story.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that they got away with in the American Civil War is actually pretty fun.
It was an accident? I don't think so. I think they planned it pretty well.
No, that was done pretty well.
I'm
Pretty
close. Oh, look, I've had a lot of just touching you.
Again, we did not necessarily know that Lynchburg had this deep a history, but here you go. And we're just looking at it as an unexpected perk of living in this town. But thanks everybody for joining us. This has been a fun stream. It's been a fun live investigation. Well, it's not really an investigation. It's more like a ghost tour, but this has been a fun ghost tour, a real fun ghost tour, and I appreciate everybody being here. This looks like a nice place. Fratelli's, I think that was near. I'll have to remember that. We're basically doing a... Yeah. What was that? Oh. I don't think the statue's haunted.
You never know.
Yo, Marv. How are you, buddy? Yeah, they got some cool bars around here. You're going to love it when you visit, Marv. You're going to love it when you visit.
Mansion. Yeah, there.
And we got some haunted places to take you to as well, Marv. But I'm here with Pip.
She's not here. I am here.
And I'm here with your mum. That's me mum. Right there. That's me mum.
I didn't know she was getting a workout.
Yeah.
All those aerobics classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those aerobics classes are finally paying off, Mom. And
Yeah.
remember, we work off the meal, and
can go have some
we can go and have some pie. We have pie back at the house. We have pie back at the house. And thank you, Marv, for standing here. Nah, everybody will behave. Everybody will behave. But anyway, here we go. Here we go. And again, remember, if you have any questions for me, or if you want me to pass on something to the tour guide, we are making a giant loop, and we will be probably ending at GhostStop. But feel free to ask. I will pass it along. Yeah.
So many lofts. and
They
things
are.
around
They're all,
here.
well. That's the thing. That's the thing is taking apartments,
things in here.
taking all these factories and turning them into loft apartments. Hopefully they're affordable loft apartments.
Well, affordable compared to Northern Virginia.
Yeah, compared to Northern Virginia. Oh, look at this.
Oh, we're coming up down to the city.
We're basically doing a giant circle.
Well, there's meat. I smell meat down there. 'Cause it's barbecue.
So it
But I
could have
don't
been.
smell smoke.
So it could have been a barbecue joint. We could have been.
But
It's a tough one.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's neat.
But this has been a ghost tour mixed with a history tour mixed with some paranormal investigation. It's been a lot of fun, and yes, it is presented by GhostStop, and they've done a really, really good job. As you heard me say earlier to our lovely tour guide Ashley, she's doing great. She's doing great. I'm here with my better half.
We're in my drip.
Yeah.
My drip is
Your
strong.
riz is your charisma. Your drip is your
my
clothes.
Yes.
She's got some paranormal drip on. She's getting her paranormal drip on. She teases me for when I try to talk like one of the youngsters. That's funny. All right.
Where are we now? I don't know.
All right, we still have everyone.
Yes, the cool.
Everyone has their own groups. All right, so this is my final story of the night. This is one of my most favorites. So from right about here, just a little bit past, all the way down to where the next bridge is, this was one of Lynchburg's most famous aspects of its nightlife. Any guesses real quick before I get into it?
The red light district.
Absolutely. This was our world famous, and I truly mean that world famous red light district. We are talking about the World War eras now. World War I,
This is the story.
era. And they're just back in
There would have been music down here, right?
There would have been some music.
There would have been music down here. There would have been lots of music, lots of enjoyment, lots of entertainment, lots of ladies. Cat houses, gambling houses, brothels, bordellos, whatever you would like to call them. This is where they were. They actually called it Buzzard's Roost, and it operated for 160 years. At its height, we have two ladies taking care of the scene, Louise and Bernice. And they used to
Ladies.
have world famous guests come in. Mr. Wrigley of Wrigley's Gum used to take all his friends. He would fly them into Lynchburg for a debaucherous weekend out. Hang out
Like
with the ladies.
Vegas.
Let's go.
And these ladies, they were, I don't even want to call them a worst kept secret, because they weren't even secret. Everyone knew who they were. They were part of the town. They were part of the town's economy. So much so that they did have open bank accounts. They were in charge of their own bank accounts during an era where women typically weren't. They were listed in the city directory as madames, as workers, as night girls. They were very out of the part of the community, part of the city. So much so that other people even made money off of their business. And when World War II came around, this was a ship-off point for the soldiers to go overseas. They were not allowed to come hang out with the ladies down here, but they still found a way. And it was because of the local tailor. They would come into the tailor, they would rent out civilians' clothes, drop off their fatigues, go spend a night out downtown with the ladies, and then come back the next day, the next morning, or even late into that night, pick up their fatigues, and then they'd head off to war. Yeah. When the police department would conduct raids, somebody from the police department would call them ahead of time to let them know somebody was coming for an official visit, so that they had the time to gather the ladies from the one house being raided and get them all to a different house so that they were protected. Like I said, 160 years. It was not until Virginia state government stepped in and went, hey guys, y'all aren't supposed to be doing that. And even then, it still lasted a couple years after that. Even after the state mandated, they shut the houses down.
What year was that?
We're talking about World War II era,
okay.
And World War I. So it ended shortly after World War II, is what my understanding of it. But even then, the lady still operated in secret. Like I said, at the height, our richest madame, shortly before World War I, she ended up purchasing a house by herself, full cash, for $100,000.
Gotta
Yes.
get that.
We're talking about
Not
local
everyone
hoes.
understands the significance of that, but
Oh
that
no,
was quite a
madame,
bit
there's
back
only
then.
one place.
Pardon me, mesdames.
She also had the wealthiest, most costly burial in the state of Virginia to this day. She was buried in a bronze casket out in the cemetery.
Wow.
The most expensive funeral the state has ever had, and nobody's been able to top it. Honestly, goals, like a bronze casket, I would look cute. The people who reside in these homes, in these buildings out here, they do talk about seeing the ladies.
They're here.
Yeah, they're here.
They're here.
They do talk
Just so
about
you know.
seeing the ladies, oftentimes leaning up against the walls, telling the gentlemen, like, come here, come hang out.
Oh, jeez.
In particular, there's one lady dressed all in white. She likes to hang out of a window across the balcony, and she'll do this little, like,
Come on, soldier.
type thing. So they're still out. They still hear about talking to them. The little giggles of women talking, trading secrets. We know at the time, the ladies who operated and ran these houses, they would have been some of the most powerful in the city. While most of the city would probably look down on them, they know everyone's secrets. Their list.
Well, I probably do keep a list.
Little black books.
Absolutely. They're spending the nights with powerful gentlemen in town, business owners, councilmen, men in charge of the
Teaching the
city.
people of the cloth.
Knowing all the secrets that happen, you know, those like little pillow talk whispers, they would have been some of the most powerful ladies in town. They
believe
are
that.
worth the mention, and you know, they knew how to have a good time. So, gentlemen, this is our final bit of the tour, and my final bit of advice to y'all is do not fall for these women. They will reach out, they will do that little come hither, they will make promises. They are dead. Do not fall for it. And on that note, I hope you all had a wonderful time out tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed your evening out with me. I hope you learned something new. I hope we took some things to heart, had a good laugh about other things. The flashlights are y'all's to keep. You're more than welcome to use those. If anyone needs to,
We're using
it
those.
is up this pathway, and up is where we met. I'll hang back here if anyone has any questions for me. But if you want to hang back here, I'll walk you guys back up to GhostStop as well. So, I hope y'all had a wonderful night. I hope you enjoyed your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you. I hope you had fun. I did.
Hope it was good.
It was interesting.
Hope you had a good time.
I had a great time.
I had a great time. Yeah.
I'm like, I want to get into that. So when
There is a ramp up there. Yeah, there's a ramp. There's a ramp up here.
yeah.
I believe, this is where GhostStop is, right?
So up this way, this building right here is where GhostStop is.
Oh, look at that. Friend of mine in the UK said, "Great guide." I'm like, "Yep. There you go. Night made."
Come to Lynchburg and Lynn.
Come to Lynchburg, Marv, and we'll show you all the hot spots. We showed you Linville.
We'll leave you with the
we'll
lady
show you
ghosts.
Lynchburg. Yeah, we'll leave Marv with the lady ghost. They won't know what to do with them. I'm not falling for it. Ashley warned me about you. I'm not falling for it. See, Marv, I'm working on that. I'm perfecting your impersonation. I'm perfecting my impersonation.
Go.
Right here.
Oh, good.
Right here.
Don't leave your mum behind.
Twitch Grandma's right here.
Oh, he's not gonna leave me behind.
I'm not going to leave. Talk about never hearing the end of it. Well, what did you think, Mom?
Oh, that was good. It's fun.
More fun than the bird theater thing, right?
Yes. Bird theater was already just too long.
No, the bird theater. You were the rock star at the bird theater when you made me jump out of my skin. Watford accent is hard. The more I go away from home, the more I hear it. Fair enough. I'm working on it. That was really a lot. You know what? Lynchburg is 3 for 3.
Yeah,
We did Sandusky.
And we did the
We did the old cemetery walk, and then we did this. And then we did the lightning round investigation with Hill City.
Yeah. I knew there was a reason we moved here.
I swear to God, this was not the reason we moved here. But
Yet.
and yet,
I hope not.
no.
Though the history. I think the history is.
I mean, there's a lot of history, but you know, it's been this was fun. This was a lot of fun. This was definitely a lot of fun. No, we parked the car back around the corner from GhostStop. Remember, we're across the street from the barcade.
Oh, yeah.
We're across the street from the barcade. So here we go.
Have y'all been to Williamsburg?
Not for ghost hunting, but
Not for ghost
Oh,
hunting.
you should. It's
They're
fun.
not necessarily leaning into the ghost hunting. Gettysburg, on the other hand, whoo.
Yeah, Yorktown.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Gettysburg. I had never been to Gettysburg in the 53 years I'd been on this planet, and then between my 53rd and 54th birthday, my wife and I visited Gettysburg a total of 8 times.
Yeah.
The place is just
we still haven't covered it all.
we still haven't covered it all,
I
and
went as a kid. Gosh, I haven't been.
there's so much to experience in Gettysburg. So much paranormal stuff to experience, and history.
Well, and you
and
have
history.
Appomattox right up here too.
Appomattox.
That's a good place to go.
We used to live near Manassas,
Okay.
and the battlefield of Manassas also had a lot to offer. So that was a fun place.
I'm from Richmond.
Okay.
And that's
We
got
have ghosts
haunted
in
too.
Richmond.
yeah.
Richmond's very haunted too. All right,
All right,
go back home.
pleasure. Hope you guys had fun.
Thanks, you too.
So we got to find a night to come and do Super Rad, because I want to definitely do Super Rad.
Super rad.
Super Rad. That's our barcade.
They're not open Mondays or Tuesdays.
Yeah. Well, we're not. I don't think we're crawling Wednesday, are we? I don't think next Wednesday we're. I don't think this Wednesday we're doing D&D.
No, we're not.
So we can always do.
We're going to go to Super Rad.
We can go to Super Rad. That'll be fun.
You did a good job.
She was great. Ashley was great, I thought. You know.
I believe that will not be the last time we see you, because we've got to
No.
take Phil's thing in to get.
We got to take Phil's thing in. We've got to
they
take.
can fix it before next weekend.
Yeah. Well. And then there's the whole thing about she wanted our contact for the live stream, and which is kind of cool. Actually, Mom, let's cross the street over here. Let's cross over here.
What?
So,
we're parked over
because we're
there.
parked over here.
Are you sure?
Yes.
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 We're opposite the.
I thought we were.
No.
Nope. We went in there to look at Super Rad.
Okay.
We're over there. I like it. I got to keep my.
Yeah, I know. I was so excited. I'm like, oh wow, they're giving us these. I was like, because when we first started, I was like, oh man, I'd
I
love to be
want
able
to
to.
get mine back.
Now you know what? Now you
It's
know
good.
what?
It fits in your
The-
purse.
Not to steal an idea, but these would be fun if we found out how much it cost them
Yeah.
to make. It'd be fun if we did a public event. If we gave people these, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. But yes, you can never have too many pocket lights. Because see, originally I parked over there,
You're right.
and people were nervous.
Yeah.
So then we said, well, this is a public parking over
Then
here.
we walked over.
Yeah, we walked over to this place called Super Rad Arcade Bar or
I think it
Barcade.
was, I am too. I think it was a little chillier tonight than Halloween.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would agree.
yeah.
I would agree. I'd agree. Bit chilly. All right, everybody.
Glad I put an extra layer on.
We're wrapping up. So big thank you to GhostStop for letting me live stream this whole thing. It was really a lot of fun. Secondly, big shout out to Ashley. Ashley, you did great. Thank you.
Watch out
Be
for
sa-
that brick tea.
I see it. We will be in touch this week. I promise. We will be in touch. And everybody else, you know what to do. Take care. Stay safe.
We'll see you in the field.
She is so addicted to doing that now.
More trained.
Look at that. Boom.